Okay. Welcome to the Money's Mind. We're going to be talking about recession. So let's get straight into it.
But that was good.
It's not good. He said one last time. Welcome to
Why you clap yourself?
Welcome back to the Money Mind YouTube channel. We hope you like our last episode, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about recession. So let's dive right straight into it.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about a word that is thrown around a lot, and it can sound very scary lah, right? So the word that we're going to talk about today is recession. Got ominous sound in the background as well. Okay.
So I think before we go into so much detail, right, first we need to define what's a recession first. So like in all like essays, we need to have a definition. So
what is recession
is
then?
a very, I don't know, it's just a buzzword, everybody's using it, but really do we know what's a recession?
You know or not?
I know, but,
So audience, now we are.
But Shen came out with a very good
So Shen, what is
definition
recession?
just now.
Yeah,
So
so now we
please
must
define it for
educate
us.
what is a recession
Yes.
first.
What is a recession?
Yes.
Usually recession, if you talk about the actual term, is actually more of 2 quarters of GDP decline.
Yeah, I
So
did
that
my
is
homework
the-
also. I googled
Yeah,
that.
so that is the technical term. But in layman terms, I don't think that's what we see. Usually in layman terms, you look at like unemployment dipping, retrenchments, pay getting cut, business cannot expand, so things like that, because it's actually tied to interest rate. So I think personally wise, the size of recession, I don't think it's easy to predict. But based on history, I think every decade there's definitely a recession every decade. If you look at history, after the recession there's always a boom, and then so on and so forth. That's the beauty of the cycle. Yeah, that's my take.
He sounds like a finance analyst. Yeah, I think later the video at the bottom will put Shen, finance analyst.
But I have a question.
Open inverted.
If it's like what Shen says, it's all part of the cycle, then it isn't such a big deal after all. Why are we so hyped up about it?
I think even though it's not such a big deal, it's part of a cycle, but lives are still affected, right? Like for those that maybe during recession they still have mortgages to pay, they still have a job, maybe then that's fine, right? But if let's say you buy new things, like I plan to during this period accumulate enough money to buy a house or big ticket item, maybe all this will be affected. Yeah. So I think what Shen says is quite true. 2 quarters of consecutive decline in GDP lah. So I think maybe everyone is using the US as a benchmark. Then not last year lah, during COVID 2020, Q1 and Q2 of 2020 there was 2 declines consecutively, right? But actually in Q3 it bounced back up in terms of GDP growth lah. Yeah. So I just saw yesterday night. I just did my research. Then I saw that in 2022 Q1 is a negative. So if this time around Q2 results come out, it's also negative. Then we're in a recession, right? But then there was a statement that say that actually they predict that there will be at least about 1% growth in GDP in Q2. So is that maybe then we siam already, we siam the recession again. Yeah, so we never know. I think we can always try to say that it's happening. But for me, I think a bit hard to really say when is it, okay, this is it, right? It's coming. Yeah. Until we are fully knees deep into it, then I say, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think very hard to predict because there's a lot of factors that would affect, right, that would cause a recession. Like if the war carries on, if the supply chain is still not resolved, if COVID situation in China is still very bad, then all this is eventually, it would probably lead into a recession. But we will never know. These things might turn around. Yeah, so it's not possible to predict. You can prepare, but I don't think you can predict. Yeah.
I think the hardest for me, to be honest, right, recession, maybe you can look at it as when you're young adults, you start to feel it more than your children.
Yeah, man. The last recession I was still studying.
So they say that the last recession is 2007, 2008 the subprime mortgage. That was 15 years ago for me. At that time, I'm still very young.
Drinking milk.
Yeah. No lah, not drinking milk.
You don't drink milk now?
True, I still drink milk now, right? But I think that time was, I think I only 4 or JC. Yeah. I guess thankfully I didn't see my parents like very affected. Yeah. But it didn't like come down to me lah.
You still got your allowance.
I still got my, yeah, that's what I was thinking. My allowance is like 照拿嘞. So I don't know, maybe you all got feel that, like, allowance cut half or anything like that. Probably not, right?
No, but I think this is probably the very first recession when things are expensive.
There's inflation plus recession
so
at the same
in the past,
time.
when 2008 comes, there's opportunity, but there's cheaper housing, cheaper cars. But this is the very first recession that we see, right? That everything is expensive.
Maybe because not yet,
Might be.
haven't burst yet lah,
Might be.
basically. Haven't burst yet.
But it's also quite hard to burst lah, because when we talk about inflation, everything is mainly driven by the Ukraine-Russia war.
The supply chain
Yes,
right
that whole
now.
supply
Yeah.
chain thing. So it's not like waiting for it to burst. It's just that as long as they don't resolve that issue, they still keep fighting. China in their zero COVID tolerance, that whole thing it's two different issues.
Yeah. And I think not only that, because like all the pent up demand from 2 years of COVID.
Yes.
Then because of COVID, so shipping lines also more expensive, right? Then everything all add up lor. Then now when economies open up, demand also increase. Yeah. So it's like they say what is a perfect storm for something like that. But I feel that right, like I was also doing some research. I googled, then I saw that the last time 2007, 2008, the recession, it was a little bit different. It was more of like market sentiments were bad already. Yeah. Then the Feds, like the US government, they actually did things that were opposite to what investors expected them to do. Yeah. But I feel that now there's so much knowledge, so much information on the internet. I feel that like whatever investors expect the government to do, right, then the US federal government actually also do it. Like, okay, time to increase interest rate. Then increasing lor. So everything is expected lah. So in my opinion, I think recession is like something unexpected happen, like a trigger. Then everything start. Everybody sell, everybody panic, then run away, that kind of thing. Run away from the market. Yeah. But
So do you think, in your own personal opinions, that recession is coming?
I think that's
Imagine
the
you're
big
the
question,
analyst,
right?
imagine
Yeah.
you're
If
the
I'm the
analyst.
analyst lah, I think that the coming recession, provided there is a very big unexpected trigger event, I think that this recession would be a little bit different. It would be a very slow and tapered decline. That means it won't be like
Boom!
boom, yeah.
It will be like suicide.
I feel that it will like just slowly like you just see like things not picking up. There's no demand. People not buying. Not investing as well. Like there's no interest in the market lah. Basically, yeah. So I think this would be that kind of recession we might be
Do you
heading to.
expect it to bounce back up, or it's like
No, so I think I don't think that it will actually bounce back up.
Right.
Like
Post-COVID,
two quarters after COVID, then under
Not so fast,
Donald
not
Trump,
so
it just
fast.
shoot right up, right? I feel that this one it will be a decline, maybe for I don't know lah, maybe 1 more, 2 more years, but it will be a very tapered off decline. I feel, yeah. But I may be
2 years
wrong
is
lah.
quite long.
It's quite long lah, but the pain is like it's not like pinch you that kind lah. You get what I mean? It's like slowly pinch you also.
Slowly add pressure.
Slowly add pressure. Oh, like the frog in the boiling water, you put the frog
Don't
in,
even know
then
that
after that you turn on the heat. We don't know we're dying lah.
Okay.
Okay.
Y'all, do y'all think or not like we are headed to a recession?
I personally think I don't think we are seeing in Singapore yet, because employment rate still okay.
Yeah,
don't
that's what
think-
I think so too.
Right. So I don't think there's any issues in Singapore yet. I think the US side is going a bit crazy because they
Someone now got worldwide phenomenon of a great resignation.
yes, something new.
I quit!
Right. Everyone want to go Bali and work.
which goes against the definition of
Recession.
or like the signs of recession. We
Yeah.
don't see the high unemployment rate
In
yet.
fact, when we spoke to our clients that is in the HR, they are hiring people, and then there's a demand for employment
Jobs, yeah.
for jobs, right? And undergrads are now currently demanding for very high pay as well, and companies are willing to pay. So there's no obvious sign, or there's no signs that there is retrenchment or unemployment at this moment.
I don't think it's affecting us yet. As of yet.
We
but I
do
think
read news
US
of
is
layoffs lah, so we don't know whether they will
But not Singapore,
come
overseas.
like tech companies.
Then they will,
yeah. Maybe tech companies has been spending too much lah over the years.
So they're just cutting back.
It could be.
Could be. Yeah.
But I feel that I think more or less if the interest rate keep rising, I am quite sure that recession will come. That's my 2 cents, because I think inflation, interest rate always affects recession. Yeah. So if the US side continue to go up, I think your slow pinch will come faster.
True.
That's what I think. But I think Biden the president cannot keep increasing the rates. To be
Meeting
popular.
you call and tell him, hello?
You call and tell him, yeah,
Why you
hello,
keep increasing,
不要再 increase 了嘞，很痛哎，
So
我的 kopi
I
peng
believe
很贵
I
啊。
believe they might increase to the end of this year. They might consider to ease off already. Then that's where you see a better turn towards the economy, I guess.
Because
Yeah,
I
they
read
managed
that
to
actually GDP growth is there's still growth.
There's still a projection.
Meaning you say that
a
actually
pro-
people
yeah.
want to consume lah, right? People there's still
still
certain
consumption.
demand right?
Yes.
Until some point where inflation, increasing interest rates, then to curb the inflation. Then inflation is so painful until people stop
Purchasing.
Yeah.
consuming, purchasing.
For the
lor.
first time ever, I see 4% inflation in Singapore. Like 4 to 5%. Never seen before.
it's
US is already at 8, brought down to 5. Yeah, so I think inflation is the problem here. But all these are caused because of the COVID. Because that time it was all zero interest, everything. Yeah, so recession, I hope it doesn't come to us. I mean, touch and go. Touch and go. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So if let's say a recession is coming, what are the things that you guys will do to manage this
How to
pending recession?
prepare for one?
How to prepare for one?
This like zombie apocalypse. How do you prepare for
I stock up my storeroom with food,
Toilet paper.
toilet paper. I go station and queue.
I feel that if it happens, right, there's really nothing you can do about it. That means like,
I mean, if it strikes you suddenly, you can't do anything.
yeah.
But now that you know it may
It's-
or may not happen, are
It's
there
not like
steps?
I do something, then maybe recession won't come.
Yeah
Or
lah,
it's,
yeah.
it's more of like if it comes already, then how do we deal with
Correct.
it lah? So I think we need to listen to what the government say.
What the government say?
We need
What the
to we need to consume less.
Oh,
Yeah. So maybe put off like big purchases, especially the things that incur debt.
But
yes.
wouldn't that have?
Negative effect.
Yeah, so if you
Too
consume
much of it.
less,
Yes.
then the GDP naturally will go
Yes,
down. Then
correct.
it cause the
That
whole
become
recession to go.
2 quarters, then我们在 recession
So
了。
shouldn't we spending money? Shouldn't we be spending money as well?
So
Spend within your means lah.
spend
Keep
within your
money,
means.
keep spare
don't
money.
don't stretch. I think because usually when we buy cars, we buy a house, we always
Over-leverage.
stretch
Yeah.
over leverage, maximum loan and all that. So maybe put off these purchases. I think would help lah. And I think if lesser people buy car, then maybe COE will drop. Then can think of changing.
I thought you just said don't buy car.
tell other people don't do that. Then we
Then you
ourselves
go and buy
do
yourself.
it.
I think it's a vicious cycle. Like, if you always spend you always spend money, and you lavishly, right? I don't think recession will be better for you also. I mean, it has to be all the way. You are a person that don't really take much loan. Everything is maintained. It's not like when the recession comes, then you change your
prudent
habit.
lah.
Yeah, you change your habit suddenly. It's not going to help you then. You can only help you at the moment. Yeah, so I think it's better, that all along, because recession is a confirm, right? Every 10 years or so, there's once. So why not just expect that? Then you throughout your
Clear
years you
the
manage your spending.
lifestyle.
You manage your
Yeah.
lifestyle, manage your spending.
Perhaps those that have a more prudent lifestyle, they don't like super get rich, when economy is booming, they don't
But
get
they are
rich.
comfortable now.
But they are
Most people are
comfortable,
comfortable
yeah.
now.
So
Yeah.
right now they don't feel the, let's say, the pinch.
Yeah.
I feel so lah, I feel so, yeah.
One thing for sure is, right, during this moment, I think try not to panic. I think
Yes.
that's the worst part.
Like,
When you start to panic, right, then you liquidate everything, then you sell everything just to get
Yeah,
cash back.
yeah.
you realize the loss.
Yeah. So that is where most people get a misconception, like investment lose money, this and that. but that's most likely because they don't really read that much, or they don't really learn from history, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the technological age has boomed to the point that a lot of things are available online, as like our podcast. Yeah, so you listen to our podcast and you know more. Yeah, so basically what happens is selling. So yeah,
Koyo.
Koyo. Yeah, so what happens is now how people react different from the past. So in the past nobody knows, everybody feels. Yeah, so I think that is where knowledge helps. Like what you say, knowledge does help, and you will probably be in your favor, and you can start to see recession start to shorten.
Yeah.
Because people know what to do next. Like when recession comes, don't sell, but instead hold or you buy more and things like that. Yeah, I think that's the future.
Yeah.
But actually, if we think like that, right, then we tell everybody to don't sell, right? Then the stock market won't drop, right?
How many people can you tell don't sell, right?
But there are some people who still need the money, maybe because
collectively
retirement.
as a human race, we become smarter.
Yeah, but if I really need the money, I have to take the money. I have to liquidate the money.
Leverage and margin, right? Those that kena margin call, that kind lah. So again, it goes down to don't over consume. Yeah. Even for investments as well, right? You do a margin call, this kind of thing. Then of course you get caught for funds, then you cannot pay. Yeah, then that's where massive sell off happens lah, I guess. You sure where you planning? You're so quiet. Is it like?
No, I'm just thinking that a person's spending shouldn't differ much even in a recession. So like a good habit would be to be prudent.
I thought you want to say you still buying your LV bags, then please buy a few.
Buy a few more.
Buy a few, keep, then wait for 5 years.
Wait for
again.
5 years.
No, but I think good spending habits are all year round, any time of the day. But I think one thing that we pointed out already is just that we have to take note that we don't be over leveraged lah. So watch that debt ratio. So that even if interest rates increase, you still have some buffer. Even if you take a pay cut, you still have some buffer. So I think people have to be more. The reality is that there are uncertainties, so that our job will also face that. So we have to bear in mind like the money coming in may not be so constant, so we have to watch the money going out. It's not the time. I feel I'm a bit more conservative. It's not the time to take like big gambles.
And I feel if let's say it's within comfortable, it's still comfortable for you, then maybe I will eat less expensive food. I will buy less things. This kind of thing doesn't kill me, It's just a choice, right? I can eat either at the food court, I can eat at the restaurant. I can eat Michelin restaurant, I can eat at other restaurants. You know what I mean?
Michelin.
So it's about making choices, but at the same time, it's not about like totally cutting off and then not enjoying your life. So with the excess cash, then you maybe put inside investments now lah, because everything's at a down. Then instead of like diverting everything into spending, you can diverting into like making wise investment choices, and then wait for it to grow. Then boom, you become richer.
But this woman says
she say until very easy,
Recession, she just choose between Michelin restaurant and restaurant.
No lah, talking about if let's say you really everyday go Michelin, I cannot expect you to go coffee shop, right? Maybe then you go normal restaurants lah.
Normal restaurants.
Yeah.
Can you
She's
name
talking
some?
to the high sass people who are watching us.
So like for me, I go cafe. Then now I eat at home. I ask my cook for me, Maggi mee. Yeah. That's like my 2 cents.
Then what would you do to Vincent?
So for now, right, like I feel that reducing spending, like I've been telling my clients as well, especially big purchases, be a bit more prudent, don't take unnecessary loans. So I feel that actually just a few months ago, right, I keep receiving calls from bankers lah. They ask me, take money and invest. Then 0% loan for 6 months or 12 months with I think 1% service fee. Then I'm very curious. I say, okay, what's my credit line? Like how much I can take? They don't have my NOA or anything, They just base off I have a credit card. Then he say, okay, boss, you today can take 90,000. Whoa.
That is so dangerous. Though.
So it's like imagine like we in the financial advisory, right? But if let's say if it's somebody else who may not be so well in tune, right? No interest, low interest, 1% of 90,000 is 900 only, right? Then you think, I take this money, I just put inside the stock market. I just invest or buy something. Hey, tomorrow 180k, wow, easy money for me. Yeah, so I think it's actually quite scary lah, and we need to tell clients not to do that. But recently I stopped receiving this kind of calls really, because I think interest rates increase.
high.
They might not offer you that anymore.
Yeah, so, but okay, so from a standpoint, right, even for myself, I actually increase or like just very marginally lah. I increase the amount of money I put into allocate for wealth accumulation, like savings or even investments. Yeah. So I think one really good tip that to prepare for this I think we can tell our clients and even ourselves is that if we haven't even started accumulating, I think we can slowly ease into it.
Yeah.
Because we don't know whether it's the bottom. And like I say, I also tell my clients, I say, I feel that it will be tapered off one. So whether bottom or not, you 看不到的, you get what I mean? It's like a very gradient, slow gradient. So if you haven't started, then maybe you start a little bit, what we say, we dollar cost average, right? You invest a little bit here and there, then it goes up whatsoever lah. Yeah. So I think this is something, a cool tip that I think I always share with my clients. Then what I feel that you want to do is you'd want to avoid lump sum just
Avoid or don't avoid?
Avoid like last one lump sum just go
the
in.
investment.
Yeah, because could be quite dangerous lah. Yes.
Yeah.
Then lastly is don't anyhow sell off your investment lah. If your strategy is solid then you retain you keep it Yeah. So last time we always say hold for long term and then like dollar cost average. But I think now like the new terminology is hodl.
Hodl?
Yeah, you don't know, right?
I don't know what's that.
Different
Only
generation.
crypto bros
What?
know.
Yeah, so
Do you know?
hodl means you must don't sell lah. Basically, hold your investments.
How do you spell hodl?
Yeah.
HODL?
Yeah, HODL.
Not
yeah.
Hai Di Lao. but
Huh? HODL?
Are you literally
Yeah, I'm trying to
googling
Google
right now?
what's hodl?
Hodl.
Hodl is basically just a misspelled hole.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and then but the term stuck. I think nobody bothered to change
Then
it.
another thing is people say, you dollar cost average, but then the new term is you must buy the dip.
Buy the dip.
But buy the dip is very different from dollar cost
Yeah,
average.
it's like you're
Buy
timing
the
the market.
dip, then
Yeah.
the dip keep dipping, then you keep
buy some.
buying, then you dollar cost average.
That's just
This is not financial advice, guys.
This is what your
essentially the
not
same
financial
thing.
advice.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing.
These
Just
are
that now they
investment
say
TikTok channels.
they say new things already about it.
Oh,
That's a lingo for the millennials, is it?
We are the
the-
millennials, so it's the lingo for the Gen
the
Z.
younger.
Yes.
So I must go hodl.
Hodl. Yeah, so when you meet your younger clients, you must say, hey bro, you must
Buy-
hodl.
Buy the dip. Okay.
And when the dip keeps dipping, you keep
buy.
buying.
Now we know.
Not
Now we know.
financial advice, guys. Guys, please seek professional advice. Clearly, we are just chilling and talking. So if you make any wrong choices, we are not to blame.
Yep. Hodl means hold on for dear life.
Hold on for their life.
They managed to find a
Yeah, there's an
for that.
acronym. Hold on for dear life.
I didn't know that.
See, we all don't know. We're not so young.
I didn't know.
Okay,
about
then what about, so for the older generation like
what
yourself,
older generation?
that don't know what is hodl, yeah,
I think the
what
strategy
tips?
doesn't change. So if you have a solid plan, stick with it. DCA would be the best at this juncture.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you get out of the market, don't do investments. Just now we talked about spending wisely.
Correct.
That's regarding I guess wise spending also trickle down to wise investments and it doesn't mean put all your money one shot. That's not being very wise. So you cut down your spendings, unnecessary spendings in terms of your investments. Stay invested. Just keep the cost, I think.
Yeah.
Yvonne?
And recently we also did a refinance of our mortgage. So like we go into fixed interest
For 3 years.
for 3 years.
Heng sia.
Yeah, so it wasn't like we expecting a recession to
Yeah,
come,
yeah.
but we knew that the rates were gonna go up. So we decided to change into a fixed rate one, which on hindsight actually lucky. Right? Because if it's a recession coming, you wouldn't want to be paying more
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
other things
That's
like
why I was
loans.
quite concerned when Ali took up a
The hers is the
floating
floating one now,
Floating
right?
one.
Yeah.
Guys, please do not expose my.
No, you never know. Maybe you might be wrong. We might be wrong.
I mean, as of now, I think maybe floating might be the idea to go because I don't think they can keep increasing the rates.
I think my consolation is just I'll take whatever savings I can get first.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so.
But
I
make
know
sure
recession's coming and
make
all
sure
that.
the difference now
Yes.
you save.
Yeah, you save up the difference.
Yes, we
Because
do,
when
we
it's
do.
floating, right, then after that, then it will eat out into your savings, potentially your savings lah. Yeah, so you need sure you need to save. Don't go to Michelin star restaurants.
Prudence.
Our finance analyst,
What about?
what any last tips to actually?
Last tips I usually follow what Warren Buffett says. So be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. So basically, now if you notice, right, if you go and think of your past self, right, during the recession, like what do you do? Or when you see like,
I was watching TV
I was
and
playing
studying.
soccer lah.
I mean not
Drinking
you,
milk.
maybe the older generation.
Older generation.
Typically, they when they see you rate, they will either sell or they don't do anything.
Correct.
So nowadays things has changed. So I believe, how many times you have to miss the boat, right? So I believe most of us miss this boat when COVID happened, like our era lah, because it's our very first recession like behavior of the market. So I missed that boat. So I don't want to miss the boat again. So I rather buy in now because now prices has gone back down to pre-COVID levels.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a good entry point if you haven't. That's for every viewer out there if you haven't. So it's good that you actually enter some position and then hodl for the long term.
Hodl.
Yeah, and if you have some you have some sound financial instruments that you know of, you can actually even consider lump sum. But lump sum possess a higher risk than dollar cost, that's for sure. But there is also a saying that during a bad time, a lump sum might even do better than a
Better
dollar
returns.
cost averaging. But of course, if you're talking about long term, dollar cost won't fail you lah.
You must stomach the risk lah.
Yeah, so that's my take about the market, and I would say that if you haven't invest.
Yeah,
That's for sure. Yeah.
Actually, the thing about the opportunity, right? I think it's quite true. If you look at the cycle, right? Let's say recession supposed to be every 7 years, but if you took aside from the 2021, the market crash, we see that the last recession is actually known recession is 2008, which is 15 years already. Actually, that's a generational cycle. So if you think of it like it's as an opportunity, it's actually our so-called like our generation's turn to make money, or like lose a lot of money lah because it's a recession. So you have to see how we look at it. Then how many more times this is going to happen, right? If we keep missing the boat, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I thought that don't miss the boat lah. Don't miss the boat. Yeah.
I think maybe it's easier. I mean, this is my 2 cents again. So I think probably it's easier for clients to think that they are accumulating units compared to investing. So your end goal is to accumulate more units. So how do you get more units? You buy it at a lower price.
I know, like Great Singapore Sale lor.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
Exactly the season.
Cheaper, then you buy 2 bags ma.
Yeah.
Correct. You don't cheaper, then I sell my bag at home. You don't sell what? Correct or not?
Yeah.
I buy 2 more bags.
But the difference between buying back and buying.
Don't buy 2 more LV bag or whatever lah.
Yeah.
In that sense.
So basically, you're accumulating units for the long term. What you're planning is more for towards the back. So the more units you have, the more you can sell. The more you can sell, the more money you get in the future lah. So I think that is another maybe a shift in mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's all today for today's episode.
That's all today.
Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. Let us know what you think in the comments. Ask us any questions you want. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See ya!